We set off on our trip to the Baltic Sea, and we left Dublin, the Viking city of Dublin, in Ireland, and travelled north to explore our Viking homeland.
Here comes a new adventure.
What would we find there? Are these people still the fierce of Viking folk of myth and legend? What is their homeland like? One of the other questions was, why are we actually going here?
Don't try guess at the game. It's a game of play and chew with thoughts that slide on legs and roll like snakes.
And to answer that, I came across this quote. As you travel to new places, dreams may reveal some past lives you have spent there. Such dreams shed light on habits, likes or fears. They show things gained or lost ages ago. Travel is thus a chance to revisit the foundation of what helped make you who and what you are today. So take a trip and be aware. That's by Harold Klemp.
Until the morning comes when everything's are at bay.
So arriving in Copenhagen, we strolled around the streets of this ancient city. We took a canal cruise, which brought us to places like the Opera House and the Little Mermaid, the icon of Copenhagen. The next day, we boarded our ship, the Regal Princess, and set sail for our first port of call, Oslo. There was one issue which we were unaware of at this point, and that was that we needed a visa to get into Russia. And getting a visa into Russia costs a couple of €100 and it takes a number of days. But at this point we were completely unaware of that. The following morning we entered Oslo harbour and were confronted by an imposing fortress. Fortunately, on this occasion, we were not the enemy and we were welcomed by the Norwegians. The Vigeland Park is the world's largest sculpture park created by a single artist. Here you can see life from birth, youth, adult, old age and death. It kind of reminds you that we're really on a journey through life. One of the places we visited in Oslo was the Viking Ship Museum, where we discovered 3 large Viking ships from the 9th and 10th centuries. These could well have visited Dublin in their time. across a village of old Danish buildings from the 16th century to the 20th century. There are also a few interesting characters on the streets of Aarhus. Warnemünde is a small port town where a lot of our fellow travellers took the opportunity to go down and visit Berlin. We, however, stayed to enjoy this seaside town, which was in the eastern part of Germany before the wall came down. And by the way, the Baltic Sea does live up to its name. It's cold, it's Baltic. Evening there was always some good entertainment to be had on the ship, either in the piazza, the theatre, or around the various bars. Around this point, we discovered that everyone entering Russia needed to have a visa. That was news to us, and getting a visa was going to be difficult. What would we do? We were going to be there in 2 days' time, and we were there for 2 days as well. And it looked like we were going to be spending our 2 days on board, not seeing the city at all. Tallinn is a medieval city still intact with its high walls and turrets. It was built between the 13th and 16th centuries, and it's full of cobbled streets, cafes, churches and castles. A few hundred years after it was built, it wasn't considered important, so it was never bombed, it was never sieged. It has remained mostly intact, and it's a very nice city. We were informed that by taking a shore excursion from the ship, we could visit St. Petersburg. The visa was included as part of the trip. That was a relief. St. Petersburg, the Paris of Russia, built by Peter the Great with the help of a number of European architects. One of the places we visited was Peterhof, the Versailles of Russia. It has magnificent fountains and gardens. St. Petersburg is a Russian port city on the Baltic Sea. Founded in 1703 by Peter the Great, it was the imperial capital for 2 centuries, and it remains the cultural capital. That evening we were entertained by local Russian dancers and singers in the theatre on the ship. The Hermitage is a museum of art and culture, one of the largest and oldest museums in the world. It was founded in 1764 by Catherine the Great and has been open to the public since 1852. The Hermitage is a wonderful building decorated with lots of gold leaf. By the way, this piece is the largest sculpture carved out of a single piece of rock in the world. The Hermitage has over 3 million items of art and culture. Leonardo da Vinci has just 14 pictures available in the world, and the Hermitage has 2 of these: the Madonna with a flower and the Madonna and Child, or the Little Madonna. We then had a few hours free time to explore the city.
that slide on.
We arrived in Helsinki in Finland. We were greeted by the rain, which stayed with us for the day. We explored the city on foot and found the rock church. This building was made by blasting out the rock and then roofing it.
Wait until the morning comes when feelings are at bay. Wait until.
In Stockholm, we visited the Miele's sculpture garden. It's a lot smaller than Vigeland in Oslo, and where Vigeland shows us how life is, Miele's shows us a lot more. He shows us how to use our imagination and how to go to that place within us, to see the beauty within, to explore those inner worlds within us, somewhere that we can fly to. It's a wonderful and inspiring place to be. Why did we venture into the Viking Homeland? Were we revisiting our old stomping ground, our old sailing area? Had we cruised this area before? It seemed a logical explanation. The cruise did fit like an old shoe. There were no big shocks at the landscape, or the people, or the culture. It was all familiar. It was comfortable. And there was a connection with the Viking ships and the whole Scandinavian culture. Why are you attracted to this part of the world? 1,000 years ago, were you a Viking too?